Don Lebatard.
Mike, how'd you feel that went? Was that okay for you?
No, what do you think about it? What do you think? Since you think you're being smart a little bit about it. What do you think I went?
No, not being smart. I would not do that to Mike Tyson. I'm not being smart. No, sir. I say it in the most respectful way possible.
Well, you're the interviewer, so you tell me how it went, buddy.
Stugats.
I'm sorry if I've upset you, Mike. Thank you for being on with us.
No, you didn't upset me, because if you upset me, you would have known about it.
This is the Don Lebatard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
UFC 216, Ferguson versus Lee. It takes place tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern on pay-per-view from Las Vegas. My favorite sunburnt snowman with us now on the show. Dana White joins us. Are you still swooning? This was a monster success for you, right? This dalliance in boxing, all of this. You were against all of that from the beginning, weren't you?
Hey, it was good to hear Mike Tyson want to kick your ass. You know, that was great. I love that.
Yeah. Okay, that's
what was
good.
the question?
Are you a sunburnt snowman?
Right now? No, not.
All right.
Normally, yes.
Okay, very good. No, I was asking you, did it all go better than you expected with Mayweather and McGregor, and weren't you initially against the idea of that, the circus element of that, a long time ago?
Yeah, absolutely. It went well, and you know, at the end of the day, a successful event for me is when people turn off the TV or leave the arena and they're happy with what they saw. And from as far as I heard, everybody was happy with the fight. Conor represented very well, and yeah, it was good. What
is the fight that people want most now? Is it again McGregor and Diaz?
I think it's Foreman Seagal.
Like what is the what is the fight? What is the fight that people want the most?
I don't know. Listen, people are always excited when Conor fights, so we'll figure out. This Saturday actually is the fight that 155 pounds. These guys don't like each other, and after they're done fighting, one of them will probably face Conor. So.
Okay. So what are the tricky things about managing Conor, Dana? Because I found viewing it from afar, I find that you guys have an interesting relationship.
Yeah, no, we have a good relationship. Managing him is fun. I love the kid. He's fun. He's fun to have around. So, yeah. No.
How about negotiating with him, though? I'm talking about negotiating with him because it seems like he asks for a lot, and he seems like he's putting you in positions where you're forced to give him more than you're giving anybody else.
No, that's not true. Believe me, paying Conor more money isn't a problem. There's no problem paying guys who deserve it. I mean, obviously, you saw that pay-per-view he did with Mayweather did 6.7 million pay-per-view buys worldwide. We broke the record in Australia. We broke the record how about this? We broke the record in the UK at 4 a.m.
Man.
We broke the record in Spain. We broke the record in Canada and the United States. So believe me, paying Conor McGregor is very, very easy.
Who do you have that's next on your list where you say this is our most bankable star after Conor?
Our most bankable star? November 4th at Madison Square Garden, this kid who's the world champion is going to fight. His name is Cody No Love. Very marketable guy. I think Cody No Love could be the next big star.
Dana, where's your frustration level right now? I know you're concerned for him, but where's your frustration level with John Jones?
I don't think there's any frustration level with John Jones. This stuff has happened so many times over and over again. It's just like I'm numb to it now.
Is that real, though, Dana? That doesn't sound... I understand what you're saying, but you're running a business, and this guy would be your second most marketable star if he didn't keep bleeping up. Like, that I understand... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
He'd also go down in history as probably the greatest ever. And if nothing ever happened, he'd probably be, fighting at heavyweight right now, and who knows what could have happened. But, I'm in a business where, when the fame happens and the money, you have to understand the crazy type of money that comes in the fight business instantly. I mean, even in the NFL, they come in at a certain level, and if they become great, they have the opportunity, to make millions. These guys, like John Jones, came in and just started making millions of dollars immediately, and he was like 24 years old. And you can go back to interviews of me saying that's great. He's talented enough to win the belt. Can he handle with all the pressure and all the stuff that goes along with being a world champion, with being famous, with being rich? And that question got answered.
Well, you just said, by the way, that who knows what could have happened at the heavyweight division. Well, you do. You know what was going to happen at the heavyweight division. So tell us, what was going to happen with Bones Jones at the heavyweight division? I
have no idea. He has the talent to have potentially been the heavyweight champion and held that belt for a while. He absolutely had the potential to be the greatest of all time. You were going to put him against Lesnar, right? You were going to do that. That was going to happen. Well, Lesnar was still under contract with WWE till next August, so who knows what would have happened. I don't count my chickens anymore, I can tell you that. And he was under contract last fight, and you worked out a deal because, as you said, you got a lot of money. You don't mind paying money. You don't mind paying but they didn't want to do that again. You saw what happened last time he was under contract, and it doesn't look good for anybody. So. Well, but how? Can you explain this part to me? Yes. UFC 216, Ferguson versus Lee. It's tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern, live on pay-per-view from Las Vegas. Dana White with us on ESPN Radio. I don't want to say your sport has a drug problem, but how do you handle the idea that guys are failing drug tests before fights, and then you get the money from the fight, they get the title, and then you got to go back and strip it? Like, how do you handle the integrity of all of that? Well, that happens sometimes, when they're testing these guys all the way up, and Lesnar had tested negative all the way up until the fight, and I think we had that happen with Jones too. We have the nastiest drug testing policy in all of sports, and not everything goes your way sometimes, so it is what it is. Dana, give us the strangest ticket request you got from Mayweather-McGregor. Oh, yeah, that's a good question. The strangest ticket request? Yeah. I don't think there were any strange ones. The tickets to that thing were expensive, so we weren't honoring a lot of ticket requests unless they were willing to pay for it. All right, but who'd you turn away? Who'd you enjoy rebuffing, like the LMFAO? Who'd you enjoy? I don't enjoy doing anybody. The LMFAO thing, the guy was an idiot, the way that he called and the way that he handled it and what he said, But who did that this time? I don't have a problem calling idiots out on being idiots. But who did? All right, so do it now. Right. I don't have any. Okay, you don't have any? Trust me, if I had one, I'd give it to you. What's going on with St. Pierre? He's good. He's getting ready. He's fighting November 4th against Michael Bisping. I'm actually, after the fight this weekend, I go to London and Germany, and then I go to Canada. We're doing a little press tour with those two, so everything's good. Well, where is St. Pierre, though, mentally? Like, what was happening there? Like, I wonder about your sport in this respect, right? It's not unique to the sport, but combat sports, the lifestyle, partying, and all that stuff, you're going to get some dependencies. And with St. Pierre, do we know where he is? Because St. Pierre was a surprise to see that he was having problems with chemicals. That St. Pierre was having problems with chemicals? With drinking. With drinking? I didn't know that. Did he say that? Okay, wait a minute. This is news to you? Am I recklessly speculating that? I thought that was part of why it is that he left the sport. Am I wrong about that? No, as far as I know, yeah, that isn't why he left the sport. Okay. That he had a problem with drinking. I never heard that. Okay, well, you would know that better than I then. I can't believe I just did that. You're conceding that Dana would know that? I know, but yes, I am conceding that Dana White would know before I would. George St. Pierre's lawyers will be calling you soon. All right, very good. So I owe him an apology right now. I thought that was public knowledge. It's not quite as bad as accusing Deion Sanders of a sex addiction. He has OCD. Okay, OCD is what I meant. There you go. The medications for OCD what I meant. Very similar, yeah. Yes. All right, I can see how you could have messed that one up. Ferguson versus Lee tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern, pay-per-view from Las Vegas, UFC 216. Thank you for being on with us, Dana. Have a good day, guys. All right.
Don Lebatard.
Deion Sanders is the best to ever do it. I think we've talked to you before briefly. I don't know how. At one point, you had gone public saying you had a sex addiction, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Stugats.
Oh, that wasn't me. That was another guy. Ain't no sex addiction. I love sex just as much as you love sex. Ain't no addiction. You look, I'm a sexaholic or something. You try to get a confession out of me.
I feel like I've talked to you about that before.
No, that wasn't me. That was the other Sanders. That wasn't me. That wasn't me.
This is the Dan Lebatard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
Doug, you're on ESPN Radio.
I'm just a big MMA fan. I'm also a journalist, and I think as a journalist and a big MMA fan that I demand an apology for what you did to George St. Pierre last segment.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Right. We've got an apology
reckless,
being demanded, and that's the most hostile environment that one can walk into these days, a sports entertainment vehicle where someone has demanded an apology. And I owe George St. Pierre an apology. But before I give George St. Pierre and Dana White and the UFC an apology, can you guys get me like a sheriff of apologies to be able to tell us whether I'm forgiven or not? Max Kellerman, Tim Kirkshin.
It's tough because Max is on the air right now doing his own show, but, Max has already approved Cam Newton's apology and said we could all move on from that.
Right.
So I think Max should probably be the guy, but I don't know. But he's on the air right now.
I'll try to call Tim Kirkshin here. We should play for the audience what exactly you're apologizing.
Yeah, well, it
for.
was awful, and I am embarrassed by it. But before I give you my public apology of awful embarrassment, we're going to replay it for you because we sink into the awkwardness here. It's about as bad a thing as I've ever done on the air. But before I get to the apology that has been demanded by Doug on a cell phone, let's go ahead and play what happened here. Well, where is St. Pierre, though, mentally? Like, what was happening there? Like, I wonder about your sport in this respect, right? It's not unique to the sport, but combat sports, the lifestyle, partying, and all that stuff, you're going to get some dependencies. And with St. Pierre, do we know where he is? Because St. Pierre was a surprise to see that he was having problems with chemicals.
That St. Pierre was having problems with chemicals?
With drinking.
With drinking? I didn't know that. Did you hear that?
Okay, wait a minute. This is news to you? Am I recklessly speculating that? I thought that was part of why it is that he left the sport. Am I wrong about that?
No, as far as I know, yeah, that isn't why he left.
Okay.
That he had a problem with drinking. I never heard that.
Okay, well, you would know that better than I then. All right, can we stop this? Thank you. Stop! Guy writes in here, don't apologize, Dan. Thunder ahead. I saw George St. Pierre once at a restaurant that served alcohol. One can safely assume he had a problem.
Feel better? I mean, Doug has demanded one. So I don't know what to
Doug has demanded an apology, and I am genuinely sorry. I didn't mean to do that flippantly. But before I apologize officially and professionally, we need to get an arbiter here to judge my sincerity. And given the success we had with Tim Kirkshin's cell phone earlier in the show, we are now trying to reach Tim Kirkshin with varying levels of success. Because Mike, instead of calling Tim Kirkshin during the break, was suggesting that we use Bruce from the other room as like that. That's how he was producing the show today when he wasn't trying to put 7 baseballs in one hand.
Right.
Mike, when I asked Mike to get on the line, a sheriff of apologies, he kept pushing Bruce from the other room.
Now, Bruce would have been here by now. Kirkshin is not.
I'm trying to call him. I've moved on to Marty Smith because he sounds like a sheriff to me.
Who would you move on?
I moved on to Marty Smith now.
All right.
And Mike I'm demanding Mike apologize to you because you went to him for.
I mean, he didn't produce this segment at all. Like, he played defense against this segment in such a remarkable, irresponsible way that somehow my bad behavior towards St. Pierre was the second most incompetent thing in this room.
I mean, we tried to get this off the ground like a half hour ago, like the commissioner of apologies, and you went to Mike and he had 7 baseballs in his hand.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Like, Mike thinks this is a playground today for some reason.
It's weird. He's never like that.
All right, now the Grim Reaper is here out of costume. Bruce the Grim Reaper.
The Reaper is Bruce.
That's Bruce, man.
For the love of God.
Grim Reaper, what are you talking about?
For the love of God, this was poorly produced.
Can you
Thank
tell
you.
Bruce what he has to do?
All right, hold on. Oh, Bruce, Dan is going to issue an apology to George St. Pierre in the UFC, and you have to tell us whether it's accepted
Like, you
and if
ought
we
to
can all
be,
move
Mike,
on.
honestly, I did the thing that should get me fired, and you should be fired as a result for how poorly you've produced this.
Go ahead and issue
Bruce,
an apology
I'm really
to Bruce.
sorry to George St. Pierre, and why am I giving a confession to the Grim Reaper?
Well, no, it's Bruce, and he's the commissioner of apologies.
What about my hands?
You've got very thick hands and big hands. I mean, Bruce, what am I doing?
Apologizing.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to George St. Pierre, and I'm sorry to the UFC. No joke. Just go to commercial. Don't do anything else. Just go to commercial.